The bright sun of Viridia shone over the great stone city, its walls covered in glowing vines and tall towers that touched the sky. The air was warm but fresh, filled with the sounds of birds and the soft hum of energy crystals. Viridia was a proud place, home to strong warriors who had protected their planet for many generations. Myra stood at the top of the training ground, her arms crossed and a smile of doubt on her face. She watched the crowd gather below, waiting for the arrival of the visitor from a distant world. She had heard many stories about humans before, but she did not believe they were strong or brave like her people. They say the human warriors are small, weak, and slow, Myra whispered to herself. How can they ever compare to us? Her long, dark hair flowed in the wind as she looked down. The crowd below was buzzing with excitement because today a human warrior would come to Viridia for the first time. His name was Tom, and he was said to be a great fighter from Earth. But Myra was sure he was just a story. Why do they even want to meet us? She asked aloud, loud enough for those nearby to hear. Humans are nothing but simple hunters. They don't have the skill or honor of true warriors. A few warriors laughed quietly. Myra enjoyed this moment. She was known in her clan for her strength and sharp tongue. Many respected her, but some found her too proud. Her closest friend, Tillo, stepped forward. Myra, you should not judge so quickly. The humans may surprise you. Myra shook her head. I will not be fooled. When this Tom arrives, I will show everyone how weak he really is. As the sun reached its highest point, a large ship descended from the sky, landing softly on the stone platform. The doors opened slowly, and out stepped Tom. He was not tall like the Viridians. His hair was short and brown, and his eyes held a calm, steady look. He wore simple armor, marked with scratches and signs of many battles. He looked around with interest but did not show any fear or doubt. The crowd fell silent. Myra smiled and stepped down from the platform to face him. So, you are the famous human warrior, she said, her voice clear and strong. I don't see anything special about you. Tom smiled gently. I don't need to be tall or flashy to fight well. Myra laughed, loud and bright. You will need more than words to impress us. The clan leader, Elder Karen, raised his hand to quiet the crowd. Let us give our guest a chance to speak. Tom bowed his head respectfully. I come in peace. I want to learn from your warriors and share my own ways. Together, we can be stronger. Myra's smile faded for a moment. The human was polite and calm, but she still did not trust him. Then show us, she said, stepping forward. Fight me, human. Show us how you battle. Tom nodded. I accept. The crowd formed a circle around them as Myra prepared for the fight. She was fast and powerful, her muscles strong from years of training. Tom stood quietly, waiting for her move. With a quick step, Myra lunged at him. She aimed to strike hard and fast. Tom moved with calm and careful steps, avoiding her blows with simple but effective moves. He was not flashy, but each dodge and counter showed skill. Myra grew frustrated. She could not land a single hit. How is this possible, she thought. He is just a human. Tom smiled slightly, then gently tapped her arm, signaling she was hit. The crowd gasped. Myra blinked in surprise. The human had managed to touch her without force. Your moves are quick, Tom said. But your strength is in control, not speed. Myra lowered her hands. You fight well, but it is not enough. Tom nodded. I respect your skill. Maybe together, we can teach each other. The crowd was silent, watching the strange fight between Myra and Tom. Some began to whisper that humans might be stronger than they thought. Myra stepped back and looked at Tom with new eyes. Maybe you are not as weak as I believed. Tom smiled again. Thank you, Myra. I hope we can learn from each other. As the sun began to set, the crowd slowly dispersed. Myra stayed behind, thinking about the human warrior. She was still proud, but a small seed of respect had planted in her heart. Tomorrow, she said quietly, I will see what else this human can do. Her mother, Lyra, approached silently. She placed a gentle hand on Myra's shoulder. Remember, Myra, strength is not just in muscle or speed. It is in heart and mind. Myra nodded but did not answer. Her thoughts were full of questions. Who was this human, really? And why did she feel strange inside when she looked at him? The night came with quiet stars above, and Myra knew this was only the beginning of a story that would change her life forever. The next morning, the sun rose slowly over the green hills of Viridia. The air was cool and fresh, filled with the sounds of birds and soft whispers of the wind through the trees. Myra woke early, her mind still busy with thoughts of Tom, the human warrior. She dressed quickly in her training clothes, a simple but strong armor made from the silver leaves of the Viridian trees. As she walked to the training ground, she felt a mix of excitement and doubt. Could this human really be as strong as he had shown yesterday? When she arrived, the crowd was already gathering again. The news of the fight had spread, and many were eager to see more. Some whispered among themselves, surprised that a human could stand against a Viridian warrior. Tom was already there, sitting calmly near the stone wall, practicing slow breathing exercises. Myra watched him for a moment. He seemed peaceful, not like the fierce fighters she was used to. But she knew that true strength was not always loud. Elder Karen stepped forward to speak to the crowd. Today, Tom and Myra will spar again. This time, it will be a proper test, a challenge to learn from each other. Let us watch with open hearts. Myra nodded, feeling her heart beat faster. She stepped into the circle, ready for the challenge. Tom stood up and faced her. Their eyes met, and for a moment, there was silence. Are you ready? Myra asked, trying to hide her nervousness. Tom smiled softly. I am. The fight began slowly. Myra moved first, her body quick and strong. She tried different moves, fast punches and sharp kicks. But Tom did not try to block every attack. Instead, he watched carefully and waited for the right moment. Suddenly, Tom moved. He did not strike hard, but his hand touched Myra's side gently. Myra stopped, surprised by how quick and calm he was. You are fast, she said. Tom nodded. Speed is important, but knowing when to move is stronger. Myra tried again, this time with more power. She aimed a strong blow, but Tom stepped aside and used her own strength to guide her away. Myra stumbled but quickly regained her balance. You are clever, she said with a smile. The fight continued, each learning from the other. Myra realized that Tom's strength was not just in his body, but in his mind and spirit. She found herself respecting him more with every moment. Suddenly, a shout came from the crowd. Look! The enemy ships are coming. Everyone turned to see dark shapes in the sky. Strange ships with sharp edges flew low, moving quickly toward the city. The peaceful morning was broken by the sound of alarms. Elder Karen raised his voice. The enemy we feared has found us. Warriors, prepare for battle. Myra's heart raced. She looked at Tom, who was already moving to help. We have to protect Viridia, she said. Tom nodded. Together. Without wasting a second, they ran toward the city gates. The enemy ships were shooting beams of light, trying to break through the shields. Viridia's warriors stood ready, but they were outnumbered. Myra and Tom fought side by side. Myra used her strength and speed to protect the walls, while Tom moved quietly through the shadows, striking where the enemy was weakest. Their different styles worked together like a single force. In the heat of battle, Myra saw Tom catch a young warrior from a falling beam. She shouted to him, "Thank you, human. Tom smiled briefly. We must all protect each other. After a long fight, the enemy ships finally retreated, damaged and broken. The city was safe, but the warriors were tired and worried. Elder Karen came forward, his face serious. Today, you both showed what true warriors are. Strength is not only in fighting, but in courage and teamwork. We must learn from this day. Myra looked at Tom with new respect. You are more than just a visitor, she said. You are a warrior of Viridia now. Tom bowed slightly. I am honored. That night, Myra sat alone under the stars. She thought about the battle and the strange feelings inside her. Tom was no longer just a human. He was someone she could trust and learn from. Her mother, Lyra, joined her quietly. You have changed, Myra. Myra nodded. Yes, mother. He is different from what I believed. Lyra smiled gently. Sometimes, we must open our hearts to see the truth. Myra looked up at the stars, feeling a small hope grow inside her. The story of the human warrior was no longer just a tale, it was becoming her reality. The morning light touched the walls of Viridia softly as Myra prepared herself for the day ahead. The peaceful moments were few and far between. The enemy ships had returned, threatening the city once again, but this time, the elders planned a special mission to stop them. Elder Karen gathered the warriors in the Great Hall. The enemy is growing stronger. We must find the source of their power, a crystal that fuels their ships. Without it, they cannot attack. Myra listened carefully. Where is this crystal? She asked. In the dark caverns, beyond the silver forest, Karen said. It is dangerous, but if we destroy the crystal, the enemy will lose their strength. Myra's eyes met Tom's. The elders had chosen both of them for this mission. Together, they would find the crystal and bring peace to Viridia. Tom stood calmly. I will go with you. The group prepared quickly. Myra packed light, carrying only what was necessary: a sharp blade, a small shield, and a map of the forest. Tom checked his equipment carefully, his experience clear in every move. As they left the city, the bright colors of Viridia faded into the dark green of the silver forest. The trees were tall and thick, their leaves shimmering like silver under the sunlight. But the forest was quiet, too quiet, and Myra felt a chill despite the warm air. This place feels alive, she said softly. Like it is watching us. Tom nodded. We must stay alert. The enemy will protect the crystal. Hours passed as they moved deeper into the forest. Birds sang above, but sometimes their songs stopped suddenly. Strange sounds echoed around them, whispers and rustles that made Myra's heart race. Suddenly, the ground shook. From the shadows, enemy scouts appeared, small, fast creatures with sharp claws and glowing eyes. They charged at Myra and Tom. Myra raised her blade and fought with skill, cutting through the attackers. Tom moved quickly, using his strength to throw the creatures away from them. Together, they made a strong team. After the fight, Myra looked at Tom. We make a good pair. Tom smiled. Yes, we do. They continued their journey, pushing through thick bushes and crossing rocky streams. Soon, they reached the entrance to the dark caverns, a wide opening in the side of a mountain, cold and dark inside. Myra took a deep breath. This is it. Tom held out a small light device. Stay close. Inside, the caves were silent except for the drip of water and their careful footsteps. The walls glowed faintly with crystals, but none were like the one they sought. They moved slowly, alert for traps or enemies. Then, in the deepest part of the cave, they saw it, a large crystal glowing with a dark, pulsing light. It was the source of the enemy's power. But before they could approach, a voice echoed through the cavern. You dare come here, warriors. From the shadows stepped the enemy leader, a tall figure in black armor, with eyes like burning fire. Myra stepped forward. We have come to end your threat. We will destroy the crystal. The enemy leader laughed. You think you can stop me? You are weak. Tom raised his voice calmly. Strength is more than power. It is heart and courage. The battle began. Myra charged with her blade, while Tom used his quick reflexes to avoid the enemy's heavy strikes. The leader was strong, but Myra and Tom fought with determination and skill. At a moment when the enemy leader was distracted, Tom moved close to the crystal. He took out a small device and placed it against the glowing stone. Now, Myra, he called. Myra attacked again, forcing the enemy leader to defend. The device beeped softly, then exploded in a bright light. The crystal shattered, sending a wave of energy through the cave. The enemy leader screamed and disappeared into the shadows. The power that filled the cavern faded. The danger was over. Myra looked at Tom, breathing hard. We did it. Tom smiled, tired but happy. Together, we are stronger. As they left the cave, the forest seemed brighter, the air fresher. The threat was not gone forever, but this victory gave hope. When they returned to Veridia, the warriors greeted them with cheers. Elder Karen nodded proudly. You have saved us all. Myra felt something new inside her, a respect not only for Tom but for herself. She had learned that strength was about more than fighting. It was about trust and working together. That night, Myra sat by the fire, her mother beside her. You are growing into a great warrior, Lyra said softly. Myra smiled. I could not have done it without Tom. Lyra's eyes held a secret. Sometimes, the greatest strength comes from the family we do not expect. Myra looked at her mother, curious but unsure what she meant. For now, the story of the human warrior was becoming more important than ever. The next morning, the sunlight poured gently through the windows of Myra's home. The peaceful quiet was different now. Myra's mind was restless, full of questions. The recent mission with Tom had changed everything. She wanted to understand more about the human warrior who fought beside her so bravely. Her mother, Lyra, was sitting quietly by the fire when Myra entered the room. The warm light made her mother's face soft and calm, but Myra noticed a strange sadness in her eyes. Myra, Lyra said gently, there is something important I must tell you. Myra sat down slowly, her heart beating fast. What is it, mother? Lyra looked away for a moment, then spoke in a low voice. Tom is not just a visitor or a warrior from another world. He is your father. Myra blinked, unable to speak. The words felt like a shock, a sudden storm inside her chest. What? Myra whispered, standing up. That's not possible. Lyra reached out and took Myra's hand. It is true. Many years ago, Tom came to Veridia. He fought with our people, and he loved me. Myra's mind raced. Why didn't you tell me before? Lyra sighed deeply. Because it was not safe. There were enemies who hunted him, and I wanted to protect you. Myra looked down at her hands, trembling. So, all this time, I have been fighting beside my father and didn't know. Lyra nodded. Yes. And now the truth is out. You must decide what to do with it. Myra felt a mix of anger and confusion. She remembered how she had mocked Tom when he arrived. How she had believed humans were weak. Now, the man she had fought with, trusted even, was her own father. I don't know if I can trust him, Myra said quietly. He left us. Lyra shook her head gently. He left to keep you safe. He never stopped caring for you. Myra looked at her mother, searching her face for answers. I need to see him. I need to understand. Lyra smiled sadly. That is wise. Myra stood and left the room quickly. She walked to the training ground, where Tom was practicing quietly. His movements were calm, steady like before, but Myra noticed something new, a quiet strength in his eyes. "Tom," she said, her voice soft but strong. He stopped and looked at her, surprise in his eyes. "Myra." She took a deep breath. "I know the truth now. You are my father." Tom's face showed pain and relief all at once. "I hoped one day you would know. I wanted to be here for you, but the danger was too great." Myra looked away. "Why did you leave me? Why did you not come back sooner?" Tom stepped closer. "Because I love you. I left to protect you and your mother from enemies who would harm us all. I never stopped watching over you, even from far away." Myra felt tears rise but blinked them back. "I don't know if I can forgive you yet." Tom nodded. "That is fair. I will earn your trust, one day at a time." The two stood in silence for a moment, the sun shining warmly around them. Myra realized that the man she had mocked was more than a warrior. He was family. That evening, Myra returned home to talk with her mother again. "How do I begin to understand all this?" she asked. Lyra smiled kindly. "By being open to new truths. By learning that family can be found in many ways." Myra nodded, feeling a new sense of hope. The future was unclear, but she knew that the secret would change her life forever. The sun rose slowly over Viridia, casting soft light across the city. Myra woke with a heavy heart. The secret her mother had told her still felt strange and difficult to accept. Tom was her father, but how could she believe it? How could she trust a man who had been a stranger all her life? Myra sat by the window, watching the birds fly freely in the morning sky. She remembered their fight, their mission, and the quiet moments they had shared. Tom had shown courage and kindness, but the past felt like a wall between them. She stood up and walked to the training ground. Tom was there, practicing with a wooden sword. His movements were smooth and calm, like a river flowing gently. "Tom," Myra called. He stopped and turned. "Myra." She took a deep breath. "I want to understand. I want to know why you left." Tom nodded slowly. "It was the hardest choice I ever made. Leaving you and your mother was not because I did not love you. It was to keep you safe." Myra looked at him, searching his eyes. "Safe from what?" Tom's face grew serious. "Enemies from my world hunted me. They wanted the same power the enemy ships use. If they found you, they would have hurt you both." Myra's heart tightened. "You should have told me." "I wanted to," Tom said quietly. "But it was dangerous. I could only watch from afar and hope for a better time." Myra clenched her fists. "You abandoned us." Tom lowered his head. "I understand your anger. I do not ask for forgiveness now. I only ask for a chance to be part of your life." Myra's eyes filled with tears. She wanted to scream, to cry, to shout, but instead, she took a deep breath. "I don't know if I can trust you yet." "That is fair," Tom said softly. "Trust is earned, not given." For the first time, Myra saw the real man behind the stories, the man who loved his family but fought his own battles. Suddenly, the sound of alarms rang through the city. Warriors ran to their stations. The enemy ships were coming again. Elder Karen appeared, his voice strong. "This is not a time for anger. We must defend Viridia." Myra looked at Tom. "Will you fight with us?" Tom nodded. "Always." The city walls shook as enemy beams hit the shields. Warriors fought bravely, but the enemy was fierce. Myra and Tom stood side by side, fighting not just as warriors, but as family. Myra blocked a heavy strike and smiled at Tom. "Together." Tom smiled back. "Together." As the battle raged, Myra felt something change inside her. The anger and doubt were still there, but they mixed with respect and hope. When the enemy ships finally retreated, the warriors cheered. Elder Karen raised his hand. Today, we fought as one. Our strength is in our unity. Myra looked at Tom and then at her mother waiting near the gates. She knew this was only the beginning of their journey. That night, Myra sat with Lyra and Tom. The three of them talked quietly, sharing stories and hopes. Myra still had questions, but she felt a small light in her heart. Her mother smiled. Family is not perfect. It grows with time, love, and patience. Myra nodded, ready to face the future. With her father by her side, and her mother's wisdom, she knew she was stronger than ever. The days after the battle were quiet but full of change. Myra woke each morning feeling different. The anger she had felt toward Tom was slowly fading, replaced by a curious warmth she could not explain. The human warrior who had once been a stranger was becoming her father not just by blood, but by action. Myra found herself spending more time with Tom. They trained together, sharing moves and stories. Tom taught her new ways to fight not just with strength, but with calm and wisdom. Myra taught Tom about Viridia, its people, its history, and its ways. One afternoon, as the sun painted the sky orange and pink, Myra and Tom sat by the river outside the city. The water was clear and cold, flowing gently over smooth stones. "Why did you fight for us?" Myra asked quietly. Tom looked at the water, then back at her. "Because I believe in what is right. And because I believe in you." Myra smiled, feeling her heart soften. "I was wrong to mock you." Tom laughed softly. "And I was wrong to leave you. But we both made mistakes." They sat in silence for a moment, watching the river flow. It was a peaceful moment, a small step toward healing. Later that week, the city elders gathered again. "The enemy may return," Elder Karen warned. "We must be ready. But now, we have a new strength: unity." Myra stood proudly beside Tom. "We will face whatever comes, together." That night, Myra's mother, Lyra, came to speak with her again. "You are learning fast, Myra. But remember, a family is built not just on battles, but on trust and love." Myra nodded. "I want that. I want to be close to him." Lyra smiled warmly. "Then open your heart." Days turned into weeks. Myra and Tom grew closer. They trained, laughed, and shared stories of their lives. Myra learned about Tom's world, a place very different from Viridia, full of stars and endless skies. Tom learned about Viridia's magic, its beauty, and its people. One evening, as they rested after training, Myra looked at Tom. "Will you stay here, with us?" Tom smiled, his eyes full of hope. "I will. Wherever you are is where I want to be." Myra felt a new kind of strength, the strength of family, of belonging. But the peace was fragile. News came that the enemy was gathering again, stronger than before. Elder Karen prepared the city for war. "This time, we fight not just for Viridia, but for the future of all worlds." Myra clenched her fists. She was no longer the young warrior who mocked a stranger. She was a daughter, a fighter, and a protector. As the city prepared for battle, Myra looked at Tom and smiled. "We face this together." Tom nodded. Together, always. The bond between them was no longer just a secret, it was their greatest strength. The sky over Viridia was dark and heavy as the enemy ships returned once more. This time, the city was ready. The walls were stronger, the warriors braver, and the bond between Myra and Tom unbreakable. As the enemy ships drew closer, the city's shields flared bright, casting a soft blue light over the stone walls. Warriors stood firm, their eyes full of courage. Myra stood at the front line, her blade ready, and her heart steady. Beside her, Tom adjusted his armor. The weapons he carried were strange to Viridian eyes, but his presence gave the people hope. For the first time, Myra felt truly proud to call him her father. Elder Karen raised his voice. "Today, We fight not only for our city but for peace and freedom. Stand strong. The enemy ships opened fire, sending beams of light crashing against the shields. The ground shook, but the warriors held their ground. Myra moved quickly, leading a group of fighters to defend the eastern wall where the enemy tried to break through. Tom followed her, moving with calm and precision. They fought side by side, their moves like a dance, fast, strong, and sure. During the battle, Myra saw one of the enemy's great ships preparing to fire a powerful beam that could break the city's shield. She knew she had to act fast. "Tom, I need you," she shouted. He nodded and sprinted toward her. "We stop it together." Using their combined strength, Myra and Tom climbed a tall tower near the ship's target. From there, they fired arrows and blasts that distracted the enemy crew. Tom used his skill to disable the ship's weapon, and Myra struck the final blow that shattered its core. The great ship exploded in the sky, and the enemy forces began to retreat. Cheers rose from the city. The warriors had won, but more than victory, they had gained something precious: hope. After the battle, Myra stood on the city wall, looking at the stars that began to shine in the clear night sky. Tom came to stand beside her. "You fought bravely," he said softly. "So did you," Myra replied, her voice full of warmth. They looked out at the peaceful world they had protected, a world that was now full of promise. Later, in the quiet of their home, Myra's mother came to sit with them. She looked at Tom with gentle eyes. "You have done more than fight," Lyra said. "You have become part of this family." Tom smiled. "I am honored." Myra took her father's hand. "Thank you for staying. For fighting. For being here." Tom squeezed her hand gently. "I will always be here." Myra felt a deep peace settle inside her. The journey had been long and hard, full of questions and challenges, but now, she knew who she was and where she belonged. Together, as a family, they would face whatever the future held. The stars shone bright over Viridia, lighting the way to a new dawn.